皆さんこんにちは。今回は、アゲインスト・ザ・ロークズポッドキャストさんが行ったラモン・カルデナス選手へのインタビューの翻訳動画です。デビッド・ピカソ選手の代役として、急遽井上選手の対戦相手に決まったカルデナス選手は何を語るのでしょうか。それでは、見ていきましょう。
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. ATR Podcast. Gio Garcia here. I'm alongside Christian Mosqueda, back for another special episode. Very special guest. We met this young man recently, and a lot has changed since, Chris. Good to see the progression, and now he has a huge fight May 4th in Las Vegas against Naoya Inoue. We have Ramon Cardenas. Ramon, welcome to the show, man. Always good talking to you.
Thank you for having me, man. Thank you for having me.
And obviously, bro, we're just gonna jump into it, man. We know why we're here. We know why you're here on this podcast, man. Again, this is a life-changing opportunity, a life-changing match. We talked about it weeks ago, right? I asked you, almost like if it was a dream, but man, it's here. It's real. It's on BoxRec. It's on all the boxing news outlets, man. Just tell me, what does it feel just to see all of that, those titles, those headlines with your name across, Naoya Inoue?
I mean, it feels good. It feels like all my hard work that I've done throughout the years, man, and it's not even. It's been since 2008 since I've had this dream to fight for a world title, and it was cool because I've always dreamt about fighting for one world title. I always thought, oh, okay, I'm gonna just fight for one, and that would be my dream come true. But to fight for all four of them, to fight for undisputed, is even more than I could ever ask for, man. And I'm just blessed to be here.
And take me back a little bit, bro, because we've heard the rumors circulating around Inoue and you, Picasso. We've heard the Sam Goodmans, even MJ. We've heard all these names, man. But take me back to when you got the news, the actual news from your team that, hey, man, this is going down. This is happening. Take me back to that moment.
So basically, I was buying food, and I was I just fought literally maybe a week prior. I had just fought, and I was like just buying. I was eating whatever I wanted, because again I just fought. I didn't think nothing was gonna happen. I thought he's gonna fight Sam Goodman and stuff. So I was speaking to my manager. And we were just having a conversation, like a normal conversation, and then he just randomly asked me like, "Hey, would you like to fight anyway?" And I said, "Yeah, I already told you, like, that's a fight that I want." He said, "Okay, May 4th." And I said, "Are you serious?" He was like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "Nah, you're playing." He's like, "No, I'm being serious." And then so I was like, "Oh, like, okay, like, so he's like, "Okay, we're still negotiating with them, but just keep it under the wraps. Don't tell nobody." And then basically, like, everything else fell through. Everyone else fell through, and I was the only one who was willing to fight him. And for me, it was just the opportunity to be here in this position, and being able to kind of go against one of the best fighters in the world, man. It was really one of those things where it's like there's nothing else that I want. So yeah, it was relatively like crazy how it happened. Just I was buying food, brother. Like it was crazy. I was literally legit buying junk food. I was buying bad food to eat because I just fought. And so that's basically how it happened, man.
And again, you said you kept it under wraps. I mean, you can only keep stuff under wraps for so long before the headlines come. Tell me what it meant, when you had to share that news with some of your other stablemen, some of your boys, some of those guys that you spar with. Are there any stories that that somebody told you told them, or?
No, so basically what had happened was I had started getting random phone calls from like friends and stuff, and I kind of was like, okay, well, something's going on. I was like, something's going on because I don't usually get, as funny as it sounds, like I talk to my friends every now and then. I always tell people this, like, your real friends are people that you don't have to talk to every day. So then I randomly would get calls from like my friends, and they're like, "Hey, bro, like, are you seeing what's going on with you and Inoue?" I said, "Nah." But I kind of already knew, like, we're already in conversation with Inoue, but like news, like media outlets and stuff started leaking. They figured out, or somebody leaked that we were in negotiations. So then somebody else leaked, and everything happened. And after a while, like everybody started finding out, and I was just getting random calls, like nonstop calls every day, asking me if I was gonna, like, if the rumors were true. And I just said, bro, honestly, I know as much as you know. I was just acting dumb, but it was cool. Like, it was cool to see, like, people were very interested in the fight, and they wanted. They're like, oh man, you deserve it, brother. You've been grinding, man. You've been working. And I was like, man, well, just hopefully it happens.
Yeah, and Ramon, how fast did those rumors come? Because we hear rumors all the time, and I know Chris and I try to stay away from the rumors. Like, we'll talk about fights like once they're official, and like we really post anything either. Like, I know we had some, or that interview that Chris did with you. You guys talked about Inoue a little bit, but I didn't want to post anything because I'm like, what if it's just a rumor, So how fast did it go from you speaking to your manager to it being like online, and how long did you have to act like nothing was happening, even though you kind of knew?
Like 3 days, man.
Wow.
Everything happened relatively fast, brother. Like everything happened relatively fast, and like I said, it was an opportunity where I didn't want to um play hardball. I accepted everything that they wanted. Um, and it's like anything, I would have accepted everything. Like if they told me, hey, your shorts have to be pink and your boxers have to be yellow, my boxers would have been yellow and my shorts would have been pink. I wanted to fight, and because like anything, I said this and I keep saying this. That's the guy I wanted to fight. So when the fight presented itself, I said yes. Everybody always talks about, oh, I want to fight so and so until so and so wants to fight you. Then they're like, oh, you know what, like, never mind. I don't really want to fight him. Never mind. Or they make an excuse, or they get sick, or whatever, etc. Whatever happens. But I wanted to fight anyway, and the fight presented itself, and I said, you know what, accept everything. I don't mind it. I want to fight him.
How big do you think, or do you think it'll be a factor that it's in the States and not in Japan?
I don't. That's a hard one, man. Because I've always said, me, myself, and I've always said that you can put a ring in the middle of the desert, and it's still going to be a ring. It's still going to have four corners, and I don't think a fight ever changes, no matter where you put a ring. So I don't think it'll be a factor. I don't think it'll be anything he hasn't seen. He's fought all around the world, and same with me, man. I've never. I don't see the ring or anything like that, or I mean, I don't see the place making a difference. I think he's gonna go out there and do his job, and as am I.
And you told me behind the scenes, Ramon, like, hey, even before this fight was an answer, like, hey, win, lose, or draw, I want this fight. I want this. This is a fight that can change my life. Can you tell me a little bit more about that mindset and the enormity of this fight?
Yeah, I mean, like, boxing needs to go back to where the best fight the best. Boxing has become a big popularity contest. I've been saying this recently because it came into my head. One day I was thinking about it, and boxing became a popularity contest in the sense of, if you have 200,000 followers on Instagram, or if you have a big following, people are like, oh, he's really good. But bro, I've known fighters who have 200 plus thousand followers, 100 plus thousand followers, and they're not very good. They don't have no accolades. They haven't done nothing in the sport, but just because they have the big following, they think they're very good, or like the people think they're good. So for me, like I told you the last time, it's like the best has to fight the best no matter what. Back in the day, Sugar Ray Leonard, Duran, and Hagler, and all these guys, there was no social media then, but they fought each other, so they knew who was who. You know what I mean? Like, they knew who was who. So for me, it's just like I told you, getting back to old school boxing, the best fighting the best. Win, lose, or draw, you should fight the best. And in their prime, and in their best, in their best time. I didn't want to fight a 35-year-old Naoya. I don't think anybody would want to see that. They're gonna be like, oh, bro, he's already an old man. He's in his prime now. So, again, win, lose, or draw, just let's go back to old school boxing, man. That's all it's about.
Hey, and Ramon, let's rewind a little bit, because talking about fighting the best, your last fight, you fought an undefeated fighter, Brian Acosta, which was a very tough fight. Tell us a little bit about that, and we know that a lot of fighters kind of play it careful when they're reaching those top spots. You were already talking about Inoue, but you still decided to take that tough fight. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, because I mean, like I said, like I gotta practice what I preach. If I go around preaching that the best gotta fight the best, why would I fight a guy who's 17-5 or 18-6 or like something like that? Like no, my promoter and my manager came to me with this guy 20-0, and I was like, okay, cool, no problem. Like, no problem. Like if the money makes sense, the fight will happen. The money made sense, so the fight happened. So it's like anything. I gotta practice what I preach. If I go around saying everybody has to fight the best, then and if I'm only fighting bums, how can I lead by example?
Yeah, and Ramon, as soon as this fight got made, both the good and the bad of social media, of the boxing fans, their opinions, they started also coming in. I want to ask you: do you read both the good and the bad, and do you use that as motivation? Come May.
I don't really read the comments because it's like anything. If I were to read them, I'd be like, oh shit. For me, it's like a lot of these people who have something to say would never jump in the ring, or half of them have never jumped in the ring. They're Instagram fighters, or they're Twitter fighters and stuff like that. Man, like I don't pay attention to them because ultimately, like I'm doing something that they couldn't do. No disrespect to nobody, but if the shoe fits, wear it. Like how am I gonna argue with somebody who's on Twitter or Instagram all day worrying about what I'm doing? You know what I mean? Like if they're worried about what I'm doing something right. And so it's one of those things where um the best obviously should fight the best, and people need to stop worrying about Instagram and social media. Like, hey, if this guy's ranked number 2 in the world, or ranked number 1 in the world, or ranked top 10 in almost every organization, that means something. You know what I mean? Like, it means something. It's not just, oh, they put him there just because. No, like, I'm here because I earned my shot, and they didn't give it to me. There's other fighters at this, and I stepped up ultimately. I stepped up to the plate. While nobody wanted to fight him, everybody was pricing themselves out or whatever the situation. Again, I don't know whatever happened with the Picasso situation, but he was front runner. Then all of a sudden the fight fell. So I don't know why it fell or anything like that, but again, I stepped up to the plate, and people should be, hey man, like give me credit because nobody wanted to fight him.
And Ramon, of course, Inoue is, talked about, the world over, top 3 pound for pound. Some people have him 1, some people have him 2, but I don't think anybody has him outside the top 3. What would it mean for you? Obviously, we know this is a legacy defining fight, for yourself. What would it mean, to be able to pull off this shocker, which that would be to most people. But what would it mean for you to have your hand raised, come May?
Man, it'll be a dream come true. It'll be a dream come true 100%, because it's like, since like I told you, man, since 2008, since I started boxing, I never told myself I want to go to the Olympics. I want to be Olympian. I want to be a gold medalist. I never said that. I always told myself I want to be a world champion. And it'll be a dream come true, really, to where, getting my hand raised on May 4th will be like, I mean, I don't think, I don't think there'll be anything else better in my life. Obviously, probably having kids. But until then, I wouldn't know. So I think winning May 4th will be the best thing that's ever happened to me in my life so far.
How does it feel fighting on Cinco de Mayo weekend? You guys are sharing the weekend with other big stars. Probably the biggest weekend in boxing. Ryan Garcia's fighting, Teofimo Lopez is fighting, Canelo's fighting the next day, and then you guys cap it off on May 4th. How does it feel to be fighting on that special date for many Mexicans?
It feels good. It feels great. It feels like I told you, man. Like, I growing up, I used to see these guys. Like, I used to see these guys on TV. Like, I used to see them. I used to see them fight each other. Floyd would always fight on Cinco de Mayo weekend, and to kind of be able to fight, and hopefully start my own legacy and create my own legacy after this fight will be a dream come true, man. It'll be, it'll mean a lot to me.
And Ramon, obviously, you have the services of Joel Diaz, very experienced coach there. Obviously, Inoue has his father. I mean, what does it mean to have somebody like a Joel Diaz who's been there? He's been at the mountaintop. He's got vast wealth of experience. He's walked through those doors. What is it going to mean for you to have him, come May?
It's gonna feel good because I know, like you said, man, I have a trainer that's been there and done it, and he's been at the top of the top, and he knows what it is to be on that level. So now it's not something that I'm going in kind of worried because sometimes some trainers that you work with or that you have never been to that level, so they don't, sometimes they fold under pressure because those bright lights, they get to you. So for me, it's just him having that experience to be there. He'll know how to handle any situation that comes to us that night.
And Ramon, obviously, there's vast amount of tape that you can watch on Inoue, but there's also this saying that you can never prepare until you're inside that ring, man. Obviously, doing your homework and then being in that ring, man. What do you think you're gonna discover from yourself come fight night?
About myself or
Yeah.
about him?
About yourself?
I think. I mean, my will to win, brother. That's really what it is, man. I'm gonna discover like how bad I really want to win that night, man. Because like I told you, dude, it's gonna be a dream come true, man. Winning this fight is a dream come true, and I've always said I want to be a world champion. Like undisputed was never one of those things where I was like, oh, I want to be undisputed. I've always just told myself I want to be two-time world champion, and that was it. But to win all four world titles in one hit, man, bro, like that's gonna be, what? Like again, like I'm. That'll be the epitome of boxing. What else is there to do after that? If that makes sense. Like, what else do I have to prove after winning this fight? Nothing. Like, I could retire the next day and I can just say, hey, bro, I was a fucking undisputed world champion. You know what I mean? Like, people are like, oh, I was world champion. Yeah, but I was undisputed. So it's one of those things where I'm a really discover how bad I want to win that day.
And Ramona, obviously, a lot of people do admire Inoue. What are some things that you're going to be looking out for? Some of the things that he does well that you're going to be, on your A game for?
His explosiveness, how explosive he is. We know that he's very explosive, and we know that his explosiveness is what separates him from the bunch. But I know that taking that away from him will you know will give him issues.
And there was moments in his career where he had like an aura of invincibility. One of his last fights, he was dropped. Does that give you like a sense of like, hey man, if that person can do it, I can do it too?
It gives me a sense of he's human. Like no one's invincible, brother. No one, if you get caught in the right shot, bro, like look at me, I never gotten dropped as an amateur in sparring as a pro, and I got dropped by a dude who didn't hit hard because the guy did not hit hard, but he just caught me with a good shot right here in the temple, and I was just went down. And it was kind of like, man, I didn't expect it, but again, it just goes to show like no one's invincible. Like, and any given night you can get dropped. So that's how I'm taking it.
How
No.
rewinding back to that punch, how did it feel? Like you said, you never been dropped, you never experienced that before. More recently, I think we saw Bacoli go down against Joseph Parker with that same shot, and then he couldn't recover. Most famously, probably Anthony Joshua against Andy Ruiz. How did it feel from your point of view?
It felt weird. I'll tell you that. It felt weird because it was one of those things where I just felt my whole body just kind of like went sideways, and I was like, what the fuck? Like I never expected it. So I got up. Mentally, I was there. I was good, but everybody kept telling me, no, your legs didn't look good. Like your legs looked, a little wobbly and stuff. They didn't look under you. But I was like, man, I felt good. Like I could see all the punches that he was throwing when he came at me. That's why if you see the fight, like he came at me and I was moving on all his shots because I could see everything. But they told me that my legs weren't good. So really, it was just, as funny as it sounds, man, you look straight but your body's like, so that's really what it was. It was just a good shot on the equilibrium.
And obviously, nobody wants to take that kind of shot. Ramon. But do you feel like that added experience to you? Like now you know how to weather that. Do you feel like you had to go through that to gain another layer to your game, or?
I feel like, I feel like God's timing is perfect. Because, for example, I took that little knockdown. I felt what it was, and then look, I got the Inoue fight. So it's one of those things where I know this fight's gonna be tough, and I know this fight, either one of us can go down at any minute, any second of the fight. So it's just like I said, man, it's God's timing, bro. I was able to kind of like it showed me, okay, you're gonna go down in this fight, but your next fight, you're gonna know what it feels like, and you're gonna be ready. You're gonna be prepared for it. So yeah, I think that's what it was.
And bro, just to piggyback off Gio mentioning that fight card in Riot last February 22nd, we saw somebody from your team, somebody that trains in India, in Dmitry Bivol, get his hand raised over a very, very powerful Metroviv. Do you get motivation from those kinds of fights? A lot of the narrative was that Metroviv was going to knock him out, but a lot of people that side with Bivol felt like he could win, and he ultimately got his hand raised. Do you get motivation from those kinds of fights?
Yeah, for sure, man. Because these people, we all know the same people. I might not know Bivol, but I know some of his friends. I know a lot of his friends actually. I know people he is close with. So I feel like as a friend, I gotta support my friends' friends. So him winning that fight was really nice. It was really good because he respects everybody from the gym. He respects Joel, and was happy to. It was cool to see them all happy when Bivol won. So yeah, I mean, it really is. There's a motivation there because it's like, okay, like he won, now it's my turn. Like now it's my turn to do it.
And we recently had Sean Porter who gave us a snippet, man. He said there's a few guys that get, all the attention in boxing, and we know who those certain names are. But he also mentioned there's guys in and around those names that maybe a lot of the casual fans don't know, but they can shock. Are you ready to be one of those guys to shock?
Yeah, man, for sure. Because like I told you, I think this is my moment. This is my moment, and I have to take advantage of it. And I just have to be ready for anything that Inoue may bring, because I know, again, like I said, he is who he is for a reason. He's not a walk in the park. So I have to just be ready, and I think this is my moment. I'm in the prime of my life. I'm in the prime of my career, and I just have to take advantage of this opportunity that I've gotten.
How high do you rate Inoue in that mythical pound for pound list? Do you have him up there pretty high, or
Yeah, for sure. I think the experts, the boxing experts, have him top 2 in the world for a reason. He's the only two. Well, from what I know, no, he's not the only one, but he's undisputed 2-time champion twice. 118 and 122. Not everybody can do that. Not everybody can become world champion. So imagine doing it undisputed. And coming from 12 pounds or something like that, 108 pounds. He's came all the way from 108 pounds all the way up to 22 and been undisputed 2 times. That right there says a lot, man. So yeah, he's he's for sure the real deal.
And Ramon, obviously, we've seen all those belts. When we see that division, we see nothing but Inoue's names, man. When you look at those belts, man, like, what do you tell yourself? What are some things that maybe some rituals that you have, with yourself that people don't know? Like, what are some things that you tell yourself as you prepare for this match?
So I always tell myself this, right? And it's a saying from my favorite movie, from Gladiator. And I don't know if you have seen the Gladiator movie, the first one. So the part that says, he says, "I knew a man who once said death smiles at us all. All a man can do is smile back." Right? And so that quote goes to saying, like, you're gonna, like, no matter what, you're gonna die. Death is guaranteed. But what you do in life is what really is gonna matter, right? So all you can do is look at death and smile and be like, all right, like, I'm gonna see you soon, but in that life, in my lifetime, I'm gonna accomplish as much as I can accomplish. So I always post that on my story, and I always, like, because that's a mental thing for me. Because for me, it's like, man, like, this is my moment. This is what I dream for. This is my looking at death and saying, hey, I'm gonna see you soon, but I'm gonna accomplish what I want to. while I'm here. So that's basically what I tell myself every time, brother. Like that quote, I say that every time.
And I've asked this message, on your live. I'm going to ask it here for our audience. What does this moment feel? We know that there's moments in a boxer's life where you guys don't know when the next fight is coming. Sometimes politics gets in the way. You guys just do, what you need to do day in and day out, man. You guys have your highs and your lows, man. What does it feel, now to be in this moment, to have this life-changing opportunity, not just the bag, but for your legacy, for generational wealth?
It feels great, brother. It feels great because I could say that all my hard work wasn't in vain. Because I know there's people, man. There's people who've boxed for 20 years, bro, and then you see them now, and they don't. A lot of I have friends of mine that were boxing way before me, from 2004. That would have been 21 years already, or since 2003, 22 years, and I see them, and a lot of them aren't doing anything. So for me, I could say that my hard work wasn't in vain. That I really focused, and I really told myself that I'm gonna do this, and I don't know how far I'm gonna take it, but I'm gonna take it as far as I can. And I look, bro, I hit the epitome of boxing. I hit the epitome of boxing, and that's why I said, win, lose, or draw, bro. Like my story, if you were to understand my story from scratch, you would understand. Like, damn, this fucking kid really did that. So for me, it's just going in there, man. Like I told you, I just blessed, man, blessed, and just gonna go fight my ass off, to win.
Hey, and again, what message do you have to the doubters, to the naysayers? We've always said, me and Joe always talk about this, like having that fight inked out, that's already a win in itself. But like you said, you don't wanna stop here. What message do you have to the naysayers out there?
I mean, I don't really have a message for them because it's like you could give them a message, but they won't really care. They're set in their minds that I'm going in there to get knocked out or whatever the situation may be. Um, if I see me, I wouldn't be paying attention to nobody else. I just pay attention to boxing, and it's in the sense of like, hey man, that's gonna be a good fight, or look up the people and really understand. Oh shit, like yeah, he's a good fighter, or he. That's what I mean. Again, I don't really have a message to them. The best message I can tell them, man, is good luck in their life, brother. Like I'm gonna be good. Like I know that I'm gonna go in there and I'm gonna work my ass off, and I'm gonna do what I got to do to win.
And
For
this might,
them, for them, it would just be good luck.
yeah, and this might be an easy answer, but is this the toughest fight of your life?
For sure, man. 100%, 1,000,000% is gonna be the toughest fight of my career so far. Um, because of who he is as a fighter. 100%, yeah, for sure, 100%.
Gio, any final questions, Gio?
Yeah, my last one, Ramon. Let's go ahead and picture it, because man, you gotta see it before it happens, man. It's May 4th. You're fighting Naoya Inoue. What is the ideal scenario? How does it all unfold?
The ideal scenario would be for me to win, and then after that, I have a rematch, win again, and then retire. Because there's nothing else for me to do. For me, it would be, what else is there to do after you win undisputed? For me, I've never been, you know, if I was fighting for money, bro, I'd retire a long time ago. I'll tell you that. In that way, I'll tell you right now, like if I was fighting for the money, I would have retired a long time ago. But for me, it's just accomplishing my goals, accomplishing my dreams, man. I did that. I did beating Inoue, I will do that. I will accomplish it. So after that, there would be nothing else to do for me. I think I would sell off in the sunset, have some kids, um, maybe get married, live my life. That's probably what I would do. Honestly, it's a good question, actually.
And brother, obviously, let's say you do what you just said you were gonna do. I know that you're really good friends with MJ. What would you say if he says like, "Hey, I want to crack at that. Let's both get money."
Then I would. It would have to be very intriguing. money to do it. It would have to be very like money where we both go home very happy, and or we both go eat after that and we say, hey, we freaking did it. We made some money together. But that's what it would be, man. Like it would have to be some really really intriguing money. But I'm pretty set in my head where what, like winning these next two fights would be one of those things where I wouldn't really feel like anything else to accomplish, if that makes sense. I think I would probably just head out in the sunset and enjoy life.
And we're about, I want to say, what, 45, 47 days from from fight night. What do the next weeks look like for you? What are you going to give up eating? What does it look like in the next 45, 47 days for you?
I mean, a lot of continuous hard work. A lot of continuous hard work. I got a chef this time. This camp has been actually very expensive because I'm trying to do everything in my power to win. So I've gotten a chef here at the house to cook for me on a daily basis. Um, I've gotten strength and conditioning coach. Well, I've always had strength and conditioning coach, but I have it where my strength and conditioning coach kind of pays more attention to me now. I have my own hours. Just like I said, man, I'm doing everything I can. Food wise, she's doing her job, so she knows what she's doing. Um, but other than that, man, just more continuous hard work, brother. Like just keep putting in the hard work every day.
And obviously, Gio said before it happens, you got to picture it, man. What are some visions that you give yourself? What are some fights where there was a shock factor? What are some of those that you're kind of honing in so that moment can happen for you? Are there any fights that come to mind that you're like, man, that fight is what is gonna happen for me come fight night?
Uh, I think Marquez versus Pacquiao the fourth. Where no one expected Marquez to win, and then his nose was all beat up and broken, and then he ended up winning. And then he said, "You know what? Like you see, like I told you." I think for me it would be an "I told you so" moment where everybody's writing me off and everybody's saying, "Oh, Ramon's just going in, and he's gonna lose. He's carne de cañón, and stuff like that." But I'm going in knowing that I could win this fight. It's a very winnable fight for me, and that's what I'm gonna prove to the people.
Hey, for me, bro, just again, congratulations.
Thank you, man.
I went crazy when I heard the news. I was like, damn, my boy's getting that fight. Like that's awesome. Again, I know it's a tough assignment. I know you're getting messages from all over the world, but I mean, I know you're gonna lock in, and I know you've been putting in the work for years, man. So again, we're excited to see this fight, man. We're gonna tune in. Again, it's a big fight weekend. I think a lot of people are gonna know your name, come fight weekend. But man, we're ready to see you put on the show.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate you guys for having me again.
A last thing, Ramon, look right into the camera. You know he's going to be watching this. Tell him something.
I see you May 4th, brother.
There you have it. Ramon Dinamita Cardenas. Thank you for joining us. We'll talk soon, man. Best of luck in training camp. Hope everything goes well. And,
Thank you.
be tuned in, man. May 4th.
Thank you, brother. I'll see y'all guys there.
Yes,
Thank you,
sir.
bro. Thanks for taking the time, bro. We'll see you at the gym.
Yes, sir.
All right, bro.
Bye-bye.
Title shot next? Is that what you're gonna demand? I've been demanding it. I've been demanding it even before the start of this fight. Before the start of this camp. I don't want to wait any longer. I knew I had to make a big statement. Enrique Vivas, he's never been stopped. I stopped him in 3 rounds. And to me, I just want to show that I'm on a different level from anybody that's in my division. I am the best 100.